Can I get a pint?
Sure thing. Here's that pint.
No, I mean like a pint to drink.
Oh, yeah, sorry. My bad. There you go.
No, I mean like a pint of alcohol.
Oh, why didn't you say so? All right, here you go.
Is this a pint of wine? I don't want a pint of wine.
Oh my goodness. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so sorry. Of course not. All right, here's that glass.
No, it's beer. I want a pint of beer. It's beer. It's beer. So we all know what a pint is.
It's this thing.
What about this?
Isn't this also a pint?
I thought a pint was a unit of measure. How many beer go into a pint?
Well, depends on who you ask. In the UK, a pint is 20 ounces of beer or 568 milliliters.
Oh, that's perfect. I have 568 milliliters of beer right here.
Ooh.
Let's have a pint right now. What is this?
The problem is that this glass is an American shaker pint.
In order to explain the problem of the American shaker pint, we need to go back to the very beginning, where it all began.
Almost everything in American beer culture can be traced back to dark origins, the Prohibition. In 1920, when it went into effect, Americans everywhere poured out their beer. And because their beer was all gone, they didn't need to keep their glassware hanging around either.
For 13 long years, beer culture faded from the collective American mind.
And in 1933, when the Prohibition was repealed, Americans were drinking mass-market lager, Pabst being the most popular at the time.
I heard they won a blue ribbon.
Oh.
Bartender, please, I haven't had a beer in 13 years.
What'll it be? I'll give you anything you want.
I'll take a PBR.
Bars and restaurants began serving beer again, but beer glassware was out of use for so long, it just made sense to grab something simple to pour it into.
So they use the shaker pint. I've been to a bar before. I'm pretty sure they don't shake beer. Why is it called that?
Oh, because it's for a cocktail shaker, see?
Oh.
Hand me the mop. That's right. The glass ubiquitous in America for beer was actually never meant for beer.
For the record, the shaker pint solved a lot of real problems that bar owners and restaurateurs had. They were cheap, durable, easy to clean, and most helpfully they stacked. Plus they were good for all kinds of other drinks.
Yeah, but not for beer.
Well, why not?
Well, for starters, a shaker pint doesn't even hold a pint of beer. Hey girly pops and welcome. Let's find out if a shaker pint can hold a full pint of beer. Here's my measuring glass filled with 16 ounces of water. We'll pour it into our shaker pint and you can see how it holds exactly 16 ounces of liquid filled to the brim. So basic, right? Now I filled up the measuring glass with exactly 16 ounces of liquid beer. Yum! You can see that there is head on top, so I think we can all guess that it's not going to fit into the shaker pint. Wow, Basically, all of the head was left behind, but so was a bit of beer, which was displaced by the small amount of head that is now in the shaker pint. You can't really pour draft beer without head, so you have to assume that when your shaker pint is full to the brim, even with the smallest amount of head like this, there's going to be some liquid beer that you paid for that was left out. No thanks. Now let's take a look at another glass which holds 16 ounces. This is an English tulip pint. So cute, right? It has a calibration line here of 16 ounces of liquid with space for about 1 inch of head on top. So let's take our 16 ounces of beer. OMG, look at how beautiful this looks. Now take a look at these two side by side and tell me which of these you want your ex to see you drinking on your Insta story.
Okay, but why does the head matter? Isn't it just taking up empty space that could be more beer? Don't I want the most amount of beer?
Well, now we're getting out of simple quantity measurements and into sensory experience and flavor science. The goal of pouring a glass is not merely dispensing the correct number of beer units, but providing the best beer experience for the drinker. Take a look at these two beers. Which one's more appetizing? The one with the head, right? Why is that? The short answer is because it'll actually taste better. All these little bubbles are flinging flavor compounds into the air, and when your nose sucks in all those epic particles, you're gonna taste this explosion of flavor that's in this beer.
You've had a beer before and you thought it tasted good. It likely had head on top. So if you want the flavor to blow your mind, you need glassware that leaves room for and supports the head.
So that settles it. A full draft pour of beer is 16 ounces of beer plus room for the head.
Hey, wait, but what about this? I thought a pint was 20 ounces.
No.
Here's where the law comes in. In 1824, the UK passed the Weights and Measures Act, which officially standardized the imperial gallon, and from that, the imperial pint.
That's where we get the UK number of 20-ounce pints.
However, the US was still using the old wine gallon system from the 1700s, which meant that our pint was landing at 16 ounces.
And just to make it more confusing, that's 16 American ounces, not 16 UK ounces. They're different because the UK used science and math to determine that their ounce should be 1 milliliter less.
I know what a milliliter is.
Yeah, now that we both understand milliliters, let's talk about Europe.
For the record, the pint is only a measurement that's found in North America and the UK. In Germany, beer is commonly poured into half liters, that's 16.9 ounces.
Which ounces though?
And they're very serious about it. Glasses have calibration lines that beer must be poured to exactly and account for 1.5 inches of head on top of that.
In Belgium, things are a bit more loosey-goosey. Brewers often provide specific glassware for their own beers, though the 330 milliliter,
That's 11 ounces.
Which ounces, though? Is king. They still have calibration lines because EU law requires it, and the big building that the EU lives in is in Belgium.
So Belgium is about craft, Germany is about precision, the UK is about regulation, and America, well, we're still figuring it out.
What a full pour is really has more to do with the local beer culture than it does any actual measurement.
But if we're going to call it a pint, we should probably be pouring them accurately instead of shortchanging consumers for our own convenience.
And let's make sure there's some room for the head.